Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Lefties are a real interesting bunch. I've never seen such a lying, delusional bunch in my entire life. There's been a claim that's been made, which generally has been viewed as hyperbolic over the last couple of years, which is that Democrats are becoming increasingly anti-American. And it's a claim that Democrats have been trying to run away from. But if Democrats are not anti-American, why is there a constant assault on the American flag from Democrat voters and Democrat thought leaders? We're not anti-American. And the next day they're all burning American flags and chopping them into bits, getting triggered going on MSNBC and saying, I have PTSD after I see American flags on the street. And why is it now that the New York Times started a competition to redesign the American flag, with some of the flag submissions being literal symbols of the quote decline of American superiority and a nation that has failed? And better question, how is a political party supposed to thrive? How is a country supposed to thrive with an entire party that thinks the country is irredeemable? How is a country supposed to thrive or survive without basic patriotism for what makes the country great in the first place? These are the questions we are going to try to answer. I gotta show you this campaign from the New York Times. It was absolutely lambasted on Twitter, and this one submission is gonna have you completely flabbergasted. But before we get into any of it, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible. We're still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. And with that out of the way, let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so I warned you, be prepared to have your mind blown. Let's venture into the collective mind of the liberal hive mind. The New York Times has published several redesigns of the American flag. Quote, these are all completely terrible. The American flag is an iconic and globally recognizable symbol of the United States. But anyone fond of the American flag's current look may not be thrilled with the new concepts recently published by the New York Times. The American flag is a potent piece of national iconography, but its design shifted frequently until the early 1900s. What if it were redesigned today? We asked artists and graphic designers to try. The flags they came up with reflect a mix of approaches. Some are functional designs, other artistic renderings, some represent America as it could be, others how the artists see the country now. The Times wrote in a piece which is labeled as opinion. And now take a look at some of the redesigns. This is what I believe. This was the flag that he submitted. The different colors represent our past, our future, untapped potential, repairing systemic racism, and taking care of our planet. Here's another one. A new flag designed by Nakim. The colors of our flag are intended to stand for unity, valor, and justice. The gray monochrome flag represents America surrendering to its fall from power and loss of the ideals it once stood for. The American dream is being washed away. And that was pretty much a consistent trend throughout. Every flag was focused on one thing. America is this terrible, deeply racist place, and the flag must be changed in order to focus on that warped non-reality. There's one response here that says it all. This is terrible. All of it. And it really is. It's just absolutely terrible the way this next generation, specifically the liberal side, is so dead-eye focused on this concept of systemic racism. When they look at the flag, it's all they see, and they have been trained. Their minds have been warped to think that. It's literally the opposite of what the American flag stands for. I mean, we're talking about the early 1900s when the final design was created. Were there little pockets of hate throughout the country? Absolutely. You'll find that in literally any country. But what it was meant to stand for was a new beginning. Equal rights, freedom, democracy. And you know what? It's lived up to that name, I'd say, quite well. This absolutely twisted view that America hasn't lived up to its standard is just so absolutely despicable. Find another country on the planet that's accomplished anything close. You'll be hard-pressed because it doesn't exist. There is no place on planet Earth that has created and offered the American dream for so many different people of so many different backgrounds. Liberals are so funny talking about the utopia that is Europe, Northern European countries, as being so much better. Generally, they're referring to places like Sweden and Norway, Denmark, Germany, places like that, places that have been essentially ethno-states until like 2015, until the Syrian refugee crisis. These are places that had almost net zero immigration, small countries where everybody was of the same race. And they're referring to those places as even coming close to the diversity and true melting pot that is the American system. It's not even close. There is no competition. The American flag doesn't need a redesign. Democrat brains need to be rewired. I mean, let's talk about that for a second. Over the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've covered so many different stories. Washington University students seen throwing away thousands of American flags flags for 9/11. New York Times and MSNBC Mara Gray, by the way, New York Times, the same outlet that started this competition to redesign the American flag, says that she finds it, quote, disturbing to see dozens of American flags on trucks in Long Island. We covered this from not too long ago after 13 U.S. service members lost their lives. 13 American flags were placed on an overpass in California, which were swiftly vandalized by, of course, leftists. We've seen over the last 4 years Antifa across the country burning American flags, which has, of course, seemingly become the favored pastime of leftist activists. But this wasn't the case. This is a change in culture. This is what the education system is doing to young minds. When I'm talking about rewiring the mind, I know it's possible because it's been done in opposite fashion. Democrats are claiming that they're pushing for progression and moving forward to a, quote, brighter future, but all they have done is create more division in society and elevate a new generation of Americans who absolutely despise everything the country stands for. I mean, if we're talking about demoralization, where it was claimed that it takes multiple decades to happen, that is exactly what's happening in the academic system from start to finish. That's why people have issues with CRT. This constant focus on everything negative, this constant division, this constant push that America is some deeply irredeemable, evil, racist place is not only ahistorical, but it's ripping the country apart. Let's put things into perspective once again like we always do. Let's do a little bit of a flashback. The media has become so anti-American, pushing Marxist ideals, social Marxism, cultural Marxism. I mean, at the DNC, for Pete's sakes, the American flag was upside down. That's happened in a very short period of time. In the early 2000s, right after 9/11, there was a wave of total patriotism within the entertainment industry. I was trying to find a good example of this, and I ended up digging up some Disney commercials from back in the day, which went a little something like this.
The flag means everything to me. It means life, it means freedom, it also means unity, and it means love. You see American flags everywhere, and it reminds you, but it also makes you really proud.
I spent my whole life pledging allegiance, and I don't think I can ever look at a flag the same way.
The flag stands for us as a group of people being united and being with each other in a time of need.
I saw a fire truck pass by the other day, and it had an American flag on it, and it was blowing in the wind. It was so amazing, and everyone just started clapping and cheering, and it was really special.
So Disney used to promote American patriotism. Now, well, Disney's pushing something else. Let's just leave it at that. The curriculum has changed in the entertainment industry, in culture, and in academia, and it is creating a generation of unhinged, anti-American, unpatriotic youth that are ripping the fabric of society apart. This is how you destroy a nation. You know, it's kind of interesting, a little bit ironic. If we go back to the flag submission from Na Kim, the colors of our flag are intended to stand for unity, valor, justice, etc. The gray monochrome flag represents America surrendering to its fall from power and the loss of its ideals that it once stood for. The American dream is being washed away. You know what? To a certain extent, it kind of is, slowly. But the flag that you present here and the ideology that you stand for is the culprit behind it. They're claiming America is dead as they suck the life out of the nation themselves. And it's getting to a point where the division has become so deep-seated, so filled with hate, that it's no surprise that the idea of secession becomes more and more popular. How do the people who still believe in the American dream, the American process, America as a social experiment in general, stand aside Democrats who desecrate the American flag and everything it stands for? Candace Owens released this absolutely beyond base tweet just the other day. I wonder if we're moving past the point of reconciliation with the left. Maybe we'd all be better letting them pick a few states they can turn into their own country with no guns, no police, no statues, no genders, no flags, no men, and no electricity. The United Freaks of America. And it's starting to get to a point where I think a lot of people feel that way. And you know what? I don't necessarily blame you. The left has become so divisive, so hateful, so anti-American. It's not hyperbole, it's fact that they have become impossible to live with to a certain extent. It's already impossible to have a discussion with them. You can't meet in the middle on anything. You can't even speak around them. I mean, for Pete's sakes, on their platforms, we can't speak without being depersoned and absolutely destroyed, govern alongside them, and expect anything positive. Candace Owens might be right. The chance of reconciliation with the left may have died a long time ago. I try to always be as optimistic as possible, but honestly, at this point, I may actually have to concede that point. I'm curious to know what you guys feel. Let me know in the comment section. I gotta get back to work though. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.